Hi guys, it's Sarah from Losing It For Me 42 with my weekly update. So I really should be preparing for a phone interview I have tomorrow, but as the topic of this video, it's avoidance. So I'm avoiding preparing for my phone interview by making a video, which I've been avoiding all week. Yeah. So, scale avoidance is number one. I haven't weighed myself. I think I weighed myself at one point one day, midday. I gained more weight, if that had any kind of like reality to it. Yeah. I'm avoiding everything. I am feeling much better emotionally. I've moved out of the depression phase and I've just kind of gone into like kind of like an anxiety hole. I honestly think it's because I don't talk to anyone. I don't see anyone other than my boyfriend for like an hour or two a day if I'm lucky. I've been trying to like have dinner at the dinner table and like have conversation back and forth, and then he goes and chills out after work playing video games or watching anime, and I'm back to being by myself or with Remy. Can you see the little Remy? He is just a ball of fur on the couch. Yeah. So with that comes wanting to avoid. Normally I'm very like, if left to myself, I kind of just stop talking to people. Not that I don't like them, not that I don't enjoy interacting with them. I just get really anxious about it and it makes no sense. I know that's anxiety. So people text me and I take forever to text back because I am filled with anxiety about texting them. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to that. It's avoidance. It's all about avoidance. So that's definitely like my number one problem right now. My eating has been shitty. Yeah. Life is a little crappy. I had a real stressor yesterday and today, and thankfully it's resolved well. That's good. I am very thankful for that. I am very, very thankful that it resolved well. Overall, I'm just kind of hanging in there. I'm definitely processing, which is good. And, you know, I've been applying every day, trying to find something, anything. I've gotten a couple of nibbles. I'm kind of excited about the newest nibble. We'll see how that one functions. But I'm just kind of like chilling and hanging out and just kind of trying to do stuff. Like I tried very hard when I first became unemployed to do something every day around the house, and then I kind of just, yeah, I should do more. This is an opportunity. I keep telling myself, like, this is an opportunity. I was like, why can't this opportunity happen in the summer? That would have been nice. I love to be gardening or going places and walking the dog somewhere. It's like fucking freezing my ass off in a cold house, which I can't turn the heat up at all. The heat is on like keep the pipes from freezing level, and that's it. So I'm absolutely frozen to the bone. Yeah, I would love this to happen during summertime. That'd be great. But I'm processing. Seems like I'm not doing much, but I know I'm processing. I know I'm going through them. The needed bits to get through this. I very much started with like zero hope and like it one of the hardest things I've had to face in everything that I've ever done is I do very well if I'm in my element, if I'm talking about something or if I'm going back and forth on things and like all of that kind of stuff, like talking about what I do and things like that. And that's fine. Things I know about, I'm great. I can hold tons of awesome conversations. But I'm really bad at thinking well of myself. I'm aware that I have a lot of talent, that I have a lot of like smarts, that I'm very capable. But then it comes to like, I feel like I need to check these specific boxes on things. I need to check these boxes. And I always go like, but I don't check those boxes. Like you should. And I think this has always been one of my things in general is like this whole, you should have to fit into this box in order to be able to do something. And I go, well, I don't necessarily like, I look at job postings and I go like, yeah, I can do a good majority of that. But then I find like the one thing I can't do and I go, oh yeah, I can't apply to that. They're asking for something I can't do. And I know that that is complete bullshit and that, you know, go through the process. If they see that you don't have the thing that they want, they won't contact you. And if they do contact you and you talk about it and you find out that that part is a huge part of the job, that's one thing. Like, as somebody who's been on the hiring end of things, like, sometimes you post things and jobs in a hope. And it would be nice to have. And sometimes, like, you know, they do list things out as, like, must-have or whatever. But I find, like, this has been an issue of myself is all about self-worth and about, you know, really thinking of myself. I think I grew up with a lot of, like, challenges. And I always thought I was dumb. I struggled in school. I struggled horribly in school. And because I was going off of, like, what grades you get, I thought I was, like, I had problems. But I could go into the tests and I would ace. Like, so in New York, we have, like, regents, which is kind of like the high level. I don't know what it would be called in other things, but it's like the accelerated classes, where you learn at a higher level than other people. And I was always in those classes, which is first tells you something. Those are the, you know, you're smarter than average classes. But it amazed me. I would do terribly in class most of the time, but at the end of Regents, it used to be, you know, how schools are not at all the way they used to be. It used to be you had a test at the end, a Regents test, and you could fail your class. But if you passed that Regents test at the end, you're good. You got the grade. Like, you passed. So I would do that constantly. And at one point, I had a situation due to a lot of things. It was science. It was earth science, which I didn't excel at. And I had, they used to pull the fire alarm every day at the same time, like the same period, which was my earth science, and I failed. And they put me out of Regents and into regular earth science. And when that happened, I sat around staring at people who were struggling with basic concepts. Like, things that I was like, wow, I went from like here to like here. And I was really like floored at, for the first time in a long time, being smarter than people who being smarter than other people who are around me. when I got out of high school and I had friends and I was hanging out with people who were in college because I wasn't in college at the time and all of this kind of stuff, I again realized, like, everyone looked at me and was like, you're smart enough to be in my classes. Why aren't you? And I was like, oh, because I'm dumb. And it took a long time for me to kind of process that and realize that I'm not as dumb as I think I am. That reading and writing and all sorts of stuff like that have always been like, not reading and writing, but like, I'm not as smart on paper as I am when I interact with people. So I'm very good at like brain power and all the kind of stuff like that. But when it comes down to like putting that all down on paper, not the best. And I think that's always kind of given me this feeling of not being as capable in lots of things because of that. And that makes this kind of process really hard for me because I feel like I don't measure up. And one of the things that I think having that realization, and like I've known this forever, but like being hit in the face with that once again, it really makes me look at my weight loss journey and feel the same way. And I see that I feel the same way. And that I look at everyone else like, oh, they succeeded. They're doing so great. Look at them. And it's not just in their weight loss and all of that, but I also, go, oh, they have so many friends in the community and like, oh, everything's so great. And everything in the one thing that we all say is not true. Yeah. And yet sometimes we think, oh, it's so effortless for them. It's not. But that all puts things into my head. And I realized that like with some regain has come the feeling that I'm as heavy as I was when I started. That's crazy. I've gained a lot of weight, but I have not gained that much weight. But I realize that I think that is kind of where some of the avoidance comes from, some of the antisocial behavior. This is everything I was doing when I was at my heaviest. I, for years, had pulled away from everything and was just like, ugh, I can't. Like, and it wasn't just the physical I can't. It was also like a mental I can't. An avoidance of social situations. And I think that part of the problem that I've been having is with the weight gain that I've had, I've started to have that antisocial like tendency where I'm starting to have this pull away from things because I'm feeling not the best about myself. When I talked about my goals for this year, it was to kind of get back to that best of myself, which was to get back to feeling great and happy and motivated. And I would like to do that. And I don't want to say like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I'd like to do that without weight loss, but I totally want to lose weight. I like to do that where it's not that it's not based on my weight. I totally want to get off this regain. I totally want to work towards that, and I want to get my shit together. Sorry, this chair is really uncomfortable. And I totally want to get my shit together and do what I'm supposed to be doing and just stop beating myself up. But that's hard. I'm working towards that. I want to get back to, I honestly think that if I can get to the point where I was happy about myself, happy about my accomplishments, and just in general, just more focusing about the bright lights of life instead of the valleys, then I feel like weight loss will come with that. I think that will lead to my overall success, my long-term success. I think that one of the reasons why my weight has been such an issue is when I was injured and going through all of this stuff, like, I got really depressed. I was like, I'm hitting it so hard, I'm doing stuff so great, yeah. And then, like, all of it ended. And I feel like I lost that spark because I thought that I equated all of that, what I was doing, with that spark. And I don't think, like, that was the outcome of the spark, but that's not, I don't think, what caused the spark. I think what caused the spark was me, was finally, like, focusing on me, taking care of me, being nice to me. As I've said, like, when I eat like shit, that's because I'm treating myself like shit. I know, looking at all of this, like, the biggest realization I've had throughout this entire process is, as a teenager, I was a self-injurer. I realized, like, looking at my life, that a lot of the things I do is just that same behavior. Sometimes my drinking too much, that same behavior. So, eating poorly and badly is that same behavior. I've talked about it before. I've heard other people talk about it where, like, when you were eating badly, you're basically slowly trying to kill yourself. Because at some point you realize, like, there was no hope and that this is all it was. So you might as well, like, go down with the ship kind of thing. I've realized that. And so every single time that I pick up anything that's not, like, good for me, healthy foods, something that nourishes me, I really look at it and go, like, that you're doing this because you want to hurt yourself. And I go, And so that's something that's definitely kind of been in the foreground lately as I struggle with eating off-plan, dramatically off-plan. I think I need to start setting other goals for myself. Other things. I'm not sure what to set my goals on or what to kind of focus for outside of looking for a job. I think I definitely need to try to find some kind of non-expense social situation that I can get more involved in. Even if it's online, just find something that I'm just more, that like force myself to engage, because I feel like it's at that point where I have to force myself. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to interact with people right now, and I don't want that to become the case. I like the people I'm talking to. I just have this real, like, the sweetest old man at the grocery store the other day. I go grocery shopping once a week, which is about the only time I leave my house. And the sweetest old man was behind me, and he's trying to strike up a conversation, and I'm just looking at him like, oh my God, this hurts. This hurts so bad. And it's like, it's not his fault. It's not like, he was doing it. It's just the fact that I have this, like, oh my God, you're making me, like, actually interact with people. And I know a lot of it stems from the fact that I think that people hate me. That I've had a whole bunch of bad friendships that basically reinforced that into my psyche, which is a whole nother barrel of monkeys. But I always just feel like no one actually wants to be my friend. And so that creates its own set of like, Sarah's got problems. And that kind of is involved in the whole antisocial behavior. But one of the things I need to do is I need to get up every day and I need to get on that fucking scale. I need to not create excuses as to, oh, I had some coffee, so therefore I can't get on the scale. Literally, I will have any excuse I can to not get on that scale. And that scale holds me accountable. If I was doing well and things were going great, I would say, yeah, once a week. No. I need to get on that scale every motherfucking day. Yeah. So that's probably the first step. Second step is to cut out the junk. I'm going to struggle with that because I'm going to struggle with carbs in general. Carbs are cheap. Pasta is the cheapest thing you could buy. Yeah, like I bought like a 30 pack of ramen for $7. I mean, that's pretty damn cheap. So yeah, that's going to be hard. Is that right now the cheapest food is crappy food. Carby food, should I say. I need, as I said, last probably a couple weeks, I need to get back into intermittent fasting. It's a struggle when it's in the house. But even if I'm eating carbs, I need to get onto intermittent fasting. I need to get back to there. Because that's the only thing that's ever really helped. And maybe I can minimize the impact of carbs with it. I don't know, but it's definitely like a better avenue for myself. So as a side thing of, if you are just tuning in and you're considering VSG surgery, let me just tell you, it is an amazing, amazing tool. It is a great life-altering thing. But if you don't let it alter your life, if you don't alter your life accordingly with it, it ain't gonna do dick. You'll lose a whole bunch of weight, but you'll gain a whole bunch back. You have to deal with your problems. I mistakenly thought I had. I was like, wee, everything's great and I'm feeling this high and everything's wonderful, but I wasn't actually dealing with my problem, which is I like to beat myself up with food. So every time I've hit a stumbling block, I've had a weight block. Every time I've had any kind of struggle, I have a struggle with my weight. And I'm not like, wow, like everything's going so great. It's literally like I have a hardship and I go, oh, it's okay to eat food. And like, at first I was thinking like, I thought like, oh, this will make me feel better. Part of my understanding as I've gone through this is that I don't do it to make myself feel better. I do it full well knowing that I'm going to feel worse, that I'm going to gain weight, and that's going to make me more unhappy. That's fucked up. It's true, but it's fucked up. And knowing that is important, because processing, knowing what your problem is definitely the first step to anything, is being able to look at it and see it for what it actually is. Because it's easier to go, oh yeah, I'm making myself feel better by eating that whole box of donuts. No, I'm not. I feel like shit when I eat them. And like, I gain weight and then I hate myself for it. So no, it doesn't make me feel better. I'm not consoling myself with food. I'm hurting myself with food on purpose. Yeah, I got problems. But I am, despite all of that gloominess, I am doing much, much better. It's not been an easy ride. I lost a job that I had a lot of problems with, but I really loved what I did. I really grew there, and I gave it my heart, soul. I bled for it, literally, multiple times. I have a scar, like, right here from it. But, like, that was crushing. And it came out of absolutely nowhere. And that is crushing. But I honestly do think that this will just change the direction of my life. Not sure what direction it's changing. I'm just kind of hanging my sail out there, waiting for the wind to kick in. And I'm sure the wind will kick in. I've contemplated a couple of different options. Some better than others. But until then, I'm just going to put my fish in my fishing pole in the water and see if I can catch anything. But in general, it's just a matter of processing. I mean, I've been off. Okay. I've been doing badly for a while. And this kind of just came at a time in which I was kind of hitting the peak of bad, which caused a whole bad cascade from it. But I think in some ways, I'm hoping that the real opportunity here is for me to get my shit together while, like, during this hiatus, is that I can basically, start focusing on myself and getting my shit together. And if it's not being low carb, if it's, if I have to eat carbs, then figuring out a way to make that work. Because though I believe that a lot of my issues really, really stem from, I always thought for the longest time that I had to work out to lose weight. I had to tear a disc in my back for me to realize that that's not true. I could lose weight if I really focus on my eating. And so I think this is a time for me to kind of really focus on my eating and really get my eating under control and actually start getting back to eating to nourish my body and not, both to feel bad and to, because I'm hungry. So I'm working towards that. It's gonna take some time, but I'm working towards that. So maybe that this is the reason behind it, is that this gives me the opportunity to focus back on myself and get my shit together, which I'm trying to do. Yeah. So I'm hanging in there. I'm doing as best I can, hanging in there. But I'm not hopeless. That's something, at least. I'll talk to you guys next week.